The result is out. When I needed him the most, he just disappeared. I don't know what all those promises made in the past really mean. Were those promises all fake? I really regret it. I regret not listening to my parents' opposition and marrying him from afar, a man I loved very much, but who now hurts me deeply. He even asked me to transfer my car, my house, and even the store I own to him. He said that after being married for so many years, the fat water shouldn't flow into the fields of strangers. But why should I? All of that is my premarital property. I'm really unhappy. He's using my money to build a life with another woman. Should I really accept that? I feel like I'm living as a joke. I'm thinking of getting better in the next few days and doing a live stream, giving away the designer bags, clothes, and shoes left in my store as gifts. I want to do it in front of him. I don't want to leave anything for him. If you have time, come visit me. I hope you all remember me in the future.
There are always people who ask me why, even though they think my account's content is pretty good, I have so few followers. It's because I often get reported. There was a time when I discussed a rather explosive topic, which garnered over 50 million views online, about a gay man in China who was deceiving people to marry. In China, around 2015, there were about 20 million gay men, of which 80% chose to deceive in marriage. What is the essence of marriage deception? It's a scam. You think about surrogacy, adoption, in vitro fertilization. All these costs are much higher than the cost of marriage deception. You spend $66,000 or $88,000 to bring a girl home, who can do housework, take care of your children, and be filial to your parents, while outside, she can also have her own job, and your social life is also guaranteed. There is a widely circulated marriage deception manual online that everyone can look up. It details what kind of girl is easier to deceive into becoming your wife, what to do if you discover you are gay, and how to quietly bring your boyfriend into your life, as well as how to handle these situations. You think, there are 16 million gay men who chose to deceive in marriage. Behind those 16 million gay men are more than 30 million parents. So, nationwide, there are over 50 million people weaving a huge lie to deceive these innocent girls into coming home, having children, doing housework, taking care of parents, and that's it. The man works outside and then mingles with his boyfriends. So, when you think about this, it's quite scary. During that time, I talked about this issue, and unexpectedly, it had such high online views that various profiles of mine circulated within that gay circle. Those gay men deceiving in marriage regarded me as public enemy number one. And afterwards, they reported my account every day, haha. So, many times, people should use their brains. Of course, if someone wants to deceive you, using your brain doesn't help much. Ultimately, I think it's still an economic issue. For many men in small places, if they are gay, they can't escape the ecological issues of their small towns. So they have to stay there, they must marry, and they need to find a girl. But at the same time, they want to find a boyfriend. Therefore, they can only choose to deceive others, and everyone knows that within this gay circle. When you are young, you are a handsome guy, and there are many people who want to hang out with you. But when you truly grow old, you still need a family to accept you and welcome you back. Therefore, I believe that money is quite important. Just like in a lecture we had in college, a student raised the point that he found that high-income groups are more likely to have homosexual preferences. At that time, he was rebutted by our professor, wrong, it's because high-income groups can publicly disclose their sexual orientation, while some low-income people might only earn $2,000 a month, so they can't disclose these things and can only choose to deceive, ultimately deceiving everyone.
Once you encounter a fraudulent marriage, do you know what awaits you? Some people say I'm being alarmist, but the truth is that fraudulent marriages often lurk right around you. I myself have been scammed twice. Once I lost a few thousand, and another time I lost over 70,000. In the past few months I've had to find lawyers, go to court, and visit the police station. It's exhausting and I'm still a subject of ridicule. Whether I can recover these losses is still unknown. I consider myself a fairly cautious person with a strong sense of prevention. If I had seen your video a few months earlier, I probably wouldn't have fallen for it. Suddenly, I feel that everything I'm doing has great meaning, and I will continue to persevere. There's also a 29-year-old cousin of mine who, pressured by his family to get married, ended up having a whirlwind marriage with a woman. Her requirement was that he buy a new car worth about 200,000, and she also demanded that his name be added to the property deed. Otherwise, she wouldn't marry him. The car was bought, he also gave a dowry of 100,000, and his name was added to the deed. In just a few months, the woman wants a divorce. My cousin comes from a rural background, and his family's financial situation was already average. To marry, he borrowed from every possible source. Now, with everything that has happened, it has become a true disaster for the entire family. For families with average financial conditions, if they encounter a fraudulent marriage, it's almost impossible to recover throughout their lives. So when you're getting married and faced with various demands and requests for dowry, you must be very careful.
Many parents. Today I'm going to talk about something you really need to pay attention to and listen carefully. It's that now, there are many cases of marriage fraud, 0.3s, out there. In the last few days, with the Spring Festival approaching, everyone is visiting each other and sitting together to chat, right? In my wife's family, in Huainan, Anhui, you know? Just by listening to the recommendations from relatives and friends, there have already been over 20 such cases this year. And this is just what we know. There might be many more that we don't know about. Among these cases, there is a family where a boy, being older, around 31 or 32 years old, couldn't find a partner. His parents were very anxious and kept arranging blind dates for him. Finally, in March of last year, he managed to find a divorced girl who was 2 years younger. Shortly after, in just over a month of dating, the two decided to get married. The boy's family gave the girl's family, 0.4s, a dowry of over 200,000, in addition to other considerable expenses. Of course, the car and the house had already been prepared in advance. About another month later, the wedding took place. Up to this point, everything seemed fine, right? The boy's parents thought that the two young people would start a happy life together. However, 0.5s, they hadn't even gone on their honeymoon yet, and the girl was already demanding a divorce, claiming they weren't compatible and didn't have common interests to continue living together. Friends, from marriage to divorce, not even 3 weeks passed. Do you think there's something wrong here? Of course, some might say that after getting married, they realized they weren't adapting and that there was no love. Yes, that possibility cannot be ruled out. But after I mention a few key points, you won't think that way anymore. First, after the divorce, not only did she refuse to return any of the dowry, but she also demanded that the car bought by the boy be transferred to their family. As for the house, she wanted it to be divided equally. That's the first point. Second, after things came to light, the boy's family learned through various inquiries that this girl had not just one previous divorce, but 2, and with this one, it would be 3 divorces in total. The last divorce happened just last year. Now, talking about the current situation, the boy's family does not agree with the divorce and is currently going through legal proceedings, 0.6s. I heard that the house and car should not have any problems because they were bought before the marriage, thus belonging to him. But the dowry seems to be a bit tricky, 0.3s. Even if returned, it seems he could only get a few thousand back, 0.4s. So, can you feel the gravity of the situation? This is a planned case of marriage fraud. And I'm telling you that this phenomenon is not rare. There are really many. Just look at the current environment. It's very difficult for boys to find partners. If the family or they themselves have certain financial conditions, it's a bit better. But for those who are more modest, it becomes quite complicated. Moreover, the current women are very picky, making it extremely challenging. On the other hand, divorced women in the area are highly sought after, with many families competing for them. At this point, anyone with some hidden intentions, or who has a dubious character, or who is manipulated by intermediaries, ends up in the situations I mentioned earlier. Well, the video ends here. I originally wanted to talk about other aspects of the relationships between men and women, dowries, buying houses, and some social phenomena, but due to time constraints, I plan to discuss that tomorrow if I have time. For now, that's it.
Have you heard of dry marriage? What exactly is dry marriage? Media reports The phenomenon of dry marriage in Shanghai is becoming more and more common, and it has spread across the country. The reasons behind it are very painful. We've heard of group marriage and dink families. And now there's a new term, dry marriage. What is this? This phenomenon has existed for 20 years. But due to face saving, no one exposes the undesirable sides of their families. This type of family is common in Shanghai, but privacy is very well maintained. People just don't know. In fact, this phenomenon is quite common. And it also occurs in small cities of level 4. In families around 40 years old, there was a young woman who studied very well, got into a university in Shanghai. Later, she found a partner in Shanghai and settled down there. During the holidays, she would take her child back to visit her parents. And during conversations, they talked about the habits and customs of life in Shanghai. After all, big cities are places that the family yearns for. There, houses are expensive, vegetables are expensive, and the customs in Shanghai are also different. The young woman casually mentioned married life. In fact, her marriage wasn't happy. Now, she is living a life as if they are roommates, sharing the same roof. She and her partner do not interfere with each other. Each leads their own life, as if they are strangers. Her parents asked, since they can't live together, why not just get divorced? Don't suffer. The young woman replied that she has now already gotten used to it. From an outsider's perspective, she still has a complete family. Both she and her partner have formal jobs. In the past, both of them were top students. They were also hired by the same company, which is why they stayed in Shanghai. Both are educated, doing well at their jobs. But later, their relationship deteriorated. Because of the child, they worried that an incomplete family would harm the child too much, so they didn't separate. Also, due to promotions at work, the company doesn't allow any misconduct. If you want to be promoted, you can't get divorced. The main issue is the house. The two are still paying the mortgage together. Currently, house prices in Shanghai are high. If they get divorced, no matter who the house belongs to, the other person can't afford the mortgage payments. For many reasons, they have been living a dry marriage and have maintained it for over 10 years, co-parenting the child, and the rest is split evenly. The young woman has gotten used to it. At first, she found it a bit uncomfortable, always arguing and getting angry. Later, after reflecting, for the child to have a complete family, for both parties to have a place to live, she opened up, didn't get attached, and let go. Family. Although it's clear that the young woman talks about her married life as unhappy, it hasn't affected her. In her eyes, there is no sadness. On the contrary, she speaks confidently, and even tells her family not to worry. They have already gotten used to this dry life. And in fact, she is not the only one in this living situation. Many colleagues around her are also living dry marriages. Most are middle-aged couples who have reconciled with married life, not hindering the children, not hindering work. That's the most important part. In fact, they all can let it go. Probably everyone knows what dry marriage is. In fact, many people are hearing this new term for the first time. In Shanghai, it's called dry marriage. In fact, it's just couples living together. In small cities, there are many as well. But many people don't talk about married life. After all, no one wants others to know about their unhappy marital status. Nor do they want outsiders to comment on their marriage. What do you think about the phenomenon of dry marriage? Feel free to leave a comment and share.
Why is the rate of fraudulent marriages in China so high? Where is the root of the problem? In fact, everyone has an idea, but let's hear the opinions of internet users. A user named Gang Jin Long said, "Last year I went on a blind date. We met 3 times, got the marriage certificate, and after that, I didn't want to see her anymore. On the 5th day, I filed for divorce. She didn't return a cent of the dowry, and I gave her over 700,000. We never slept together. I started suing her last August, and to this day, I'm still in this legal battle. I've spent 70,000 on the lawsuit." This internet user seems to have a lot of money. If it's not you, then who is it? Who told you to be so rich? Everyone is looking for what they need. Rich people need women, and women also need money. Legally, women are considered a vulnerable group, while men are the vulnerable group within the family, and the penalties are light, which makes this kind of situation common. If the penalties were harsher, the situation would be different. If you don't punish, this will spread like weeds. The gender imbalance is a problem. Families need to invest money to marry, and that wouldn't happen. One internet user commented that in their area, a young woman has married 5 times, and over time, some people from the South are running out of money. What a great way to get rich. Here, a woman who was found before marriage had many loan shark debts that she didn't reveal to her fiancé's family. After the marriage, many creditors came to collect, and after paying twice, she couldn't take it anymore and got divorced. Some, even if already married, still try to make money from this. If you work for 10 years, you won't earn as much as with this type of money. You can't blame others. We can only blame the men who lack courage. Having too many puppies is also one of the main reasons. Another internet user said that the main cause is the high value of the dowry, and that even before marriage, it is required that the house be in the woman's name. Even the divorce law is biased towards women, so the number of fraudulent marriages and divorces is increasing. The Women's Federation seeks to oppress men, taking away their masculinity and making men pass the ball to women. With the predominance of the feminine over the masculine, where will China go? Let's think about that. Many women are indeed bad, but many men who are deceived also deserve it. During their relationships with their girlfriends, even when they perceive problems and see that women are making unreasonable demands, they continue to close their eyes and jump into the pit. If they don't act, who will be the fool? It is precisely their tolerance and sacrifices that enable the creation of a large number of shameless women who follow the trend of easy money. The moral of society is also declining, and all cases of withdrawing from marriage or returning the dowry involve partial or no return of the dowry. Therefore, this type of business only brings profit and no loss, in addition to being protected and supported by the law. This is a business with zero cost, zero risk, and guaranteed profit. Who wouldn't want to be a puppy with no limits and demeaning themselves, while these shameless women manage to get precise support and get rich? Now I want to know from you, who has made it this far, what is your opinion on this dilemma? Thank you for watching. See you later.